Open the Rules Committee.
Yeah.
All the members are present and accounted for, and we will start the meeting. We'll say prayer, so let's pray. Our Father, who art the hope of all the earth, remember us in love and guide us by thine wisdom. We ask thee to grant blessings upon thy servants, our community leaders, our county mayor, commissioners, our city mayor and councilman. Bless us with wisdom, goodness, and truth. May law and order, justice and peace prevail. Defend our liberties, preserve our unity, protect our community. To the honor of thy holy name, amen. Okay, the first item on the agenda is approval of January 23rd, 2024 Rules and Legislative Committee minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, public comment. Is there anyone here who want to be recognized now or during the committee? Okay, and then we'll go on to the next item. The second item is consideration of placing the February 13th, 2024 commission minutes on the March 12th, 2024 county commission agenda.
I make a motion, we place those on the agenda without a recommendation.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The third item is consideration of placing the notary applicants on the March 12th, 2024 county commission meeting agenda as requested by county clerk Donna Thomas.
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, next, we have to approve one, the veterans report is in here. There were 42 veterans that were transported to the VA hospitals, and 63 veterans came by the Veterans Office in January. And Director's here. Mike, do you have anything you want to add? Or?
No, we're really keeping it up now. We saw 6 people today.
Okay, well, good. Any questions for Mike Rose? Okay, is a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, next is the clinic report, and we've got all the ladies here.
Mr. Chairman, before we begin, may I ask a question just real
Yes,
quick before we
absolutely.
get to you can hang just a minute. On our other reports, information only, I've done some thinking and research on this. A couple of things I want to bring up. We're on the Rules Committee. We don't set the rules, the commission sets the rules. And we have to provide notice, we have to provide transparency, process, and procedure. Our local rules state in our preamble that the Board of Commissioners shall adhere to and abide by our rules. These are our rules. It doesn't say may, it says shall adhere to. If you go to section L, Rule 1, it talks about, over here, the order of business for our agenda, on what has to be included in our agenda. You go to Rule 6, section M, it talks about the various committees and who reports to these committees. And in fact, our committee, the Rules and Legislative Committee, has reports from the Veterans Office, the Highway Department, the Ag Board, the Beer Board. And there are others who receive county money, and they come to us. Now, process and procedure is a very critical component because that leads to transparency. And if we don't have that, our elected type self-government whole process breaks down. Now, why is that important for us? Well, for the past 10 days, I have been inundated by calls from constituents, calls from business people, calls from nonprofits, calls from faith-based community efforts about people asking us, is the county in the homeless business? Is the county in the drug business? Is the county doing all this stuff? We are not doing that. We have had people from faith-based communities say that if the county is going to be doing this, then we're out because we have our own mission in what we're doing. And our nonprofits, is the county going to be involved in the homeless situation or in the drug task force? Because if they are, you're going to be competing with us. And we don't want that. So there is a huge amount of misinformation that's going out there about the work that is being going on with our homeless task force and our drug task force. Now, that does not mean that any of us are opposed to what is going on. What I'm saying is we are all for that. What I'm trying to make the point is process, procedure, transparency keeps things at a level where they're not, everyone is totally excited, totally unnerved, all kind of crazy stories and crazy talk going on. And when I see our agenda here has on our information only from the Joint Homeless Task Force, I think based on our rules, it needs to be dropped down to either announcements or non-governmental or non-commission items. Because what we're doing is by putting these reports in here, we are basically sanctioning these as commission efforts, and that is not what we're doing. You have made it clear, Mr. Chairman, abundantly clear over and over that that's what we're doing, is talking about this issue, discussing this issue. Everybody on the commission knows that's exactly what we're doing, but the general public doesn't. And the general public doesn't know because we didn't follow process, procedure to get transparency. So my suggestion is that next month, we move any organization that doesn't receive county money, that isn't on the reporting standard, move down to either announcements or non-governmental or non-commission related items, just so we can clear up all these questions that are out there. Because, I mean, other commissioners have called me and said, what are you hearing on this? And I know they're out there. So I think in order to be in compliant with our bylaws and our requirements here, we are the Rules Committee. We're set to a higher standard. We should abide by that. And this is not in any way to denigrate the work that the Homeless Task Force is doing or the Drug Force is doing. I'm not in any way insinuating that. We are all for it. We want you to do it. We want to encourage other commissioners, if you have a passion, to do exactly what we're doing. If you want to be on the agenda, Commissioner Fair has been open for the 6 years I've been on here. He has never told somebody they couldn't speak and couldn't talk about it. But because these are not a commission sanctioned, I think we need to move it down the list. And I would hope that we can do that for next month. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
From my viewpoint, and we'll go down the committee, it's just obvious it's other reports and it's for information only. I don't think anybody ever thought that this was officially any of our business. They're just being heard here. And we can move it down if you want to and then change the wording, but it's for the public's information only, for our information. The rules is a place to share information. I don't look at it as anything that hadn't been transparent. I mean, I don't quite understand that. The clinic report, we're going to hear from Frida Lusk and several of the ladies that work with her there. And good, and they're welcome to come in anytime. And we generally go over that and see how many that the doctors have seen and how many of the dentists have seen, and just for our information. We never have acted like we're over the community clinic because it says for information only. Now, I don't see how, I guess I beg to differ from what, I don't see how I could be any more clear that we're not sanctioning any of that, Commissioner Vick. It's clear to me right now that we're not sanctioning any of that. We're a public meeting, and we're allowing people to come up and discuss things. Now, if you need to move it on down, but it's not announcements. They're not announcements. These people are providing important services here, and we're not approving them. We're not sanctioning. We're not doing any of that nature. And I don't know, I'm sorry you're getting a lot of calls, but I just tell them, yes, it's discussed at our meetings, but it's for the public's information only. We're not taking any action. We do not intend to take any action. We're not for, we're not against. We're just discussing it in open forum at our meeting. And that's what we've always done. So I don't see that we're out of position right now, but we'll let the rest of them discuss. Okay.
Well, I will say this.
Okay.
I don't see any issue with it at all. However, Commissioner Vick, if you want to move it down to just information only, not call it other reports, I got no problem with that.
That's all.
We could do that. We could just say for information only, but I wouldn't put it under announcements or anything like that. Could we move it down and say other reports and put for information only and put it there?
We can make our agenda anything we want to make as long as we include what the bylaws tell
Okay.
us to do, which we
But
have
I've got no
done.
problem moving it down. But we still need to have it, but we'll just move it down and say for information only.
And again, I'm not opposed to having
I
the
got you.
report. I think it's inappropriately placed, and I don't know.
No, we can discuss it. We don't, Commissioner Yockey.
Yeah, and if you move that down, or however you call that, I'd also add, another person requesting to
Sure.
speak, because if we're moving into this era and public comment time, completely separate from that, that then would tell that person where they would be placed rather than in the public comment section. But anyway, I think Biff and I agree on this wholeheartedly. Anybody who wants to come before any of these committees and say anything they want to, should definitely be allowed. I encourage,
Can you go to the microphones?
but I do encourage anybody who wants to, and they should, if they want to be on the agenda, they need to check with Mr. Farrer, or Commissioner Farrer, or the mayor, I believe is the protocol to do for that. But we are going to have people who are going to start coming before us for whatever. In past times, Julie will remember, we've had the gun range controversy with people, and there were a lot of people who came and spoke to us. We want them to come there. So if you're going to do something a little bit rearranging, put that's where anyone wishing to speak to the committee would go to. Because the public comment thing has gotten a little confusing on the general public.
Okay, is there any other comments from the committee? Y'all have any input?
I
Want
mean,
comment?
I think it's self-explanatory, but I'm not opposed to, you know, if you want to rearrange it on the piece of paper, it's going to be the same difference or whatever. I don't care.
I'm for like with everybody else.
Well, it's there at the end now. I mean, after that is other business. So it's where it's at the end of basically our meeting. Now, we need to change some of the verbiage, and, you know, we can look at that and study it and discuss it.
Talk about it next month.
Yeah,
Is that
sure,
okay?
let's do that.
Absolutely.
Let's do that.
I mean,
That
that's
sounds
good.
good.
All right.
That's fine with me. Anybody else have any questions concerning?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Public comment or for information only? Yeah, Mr. Lusky, go right ahead. You can bring us up on the community clinic. Yes, I'll be glad to. That's the second one. We'll put one.
Let's see.
I don't know what that is. We
The
got
wrong
that.
ones.
We got that. I don't, we just.
Here's wrong ones.
Okay, we don't need that. We've got that already. Do you need one more, Les?
Yeah, we do. Bill needs one. We're good.
We got 5 of those. Okay.
I want to say good evening to all of you, and
I don't think we have, or maybe he ain't passed it down.
Thank you, sir.
First papers you passed out, is it, Commissioner Farrer?
No, we're not gonna have a test, are we?
Hope not.
Hey, Bill,
it's not
we're not
on.
gonna have a test, are we?
Better be multiple choice.
Mine's different than y'all's. I don't have that. Hey, Biff, I need one of those. Okay. This,
They got two sides on it?
yeah.
I got a one-sided.
You got a one-sided?
That's all right.
It's a front and back.
No, that's all right. I'm good.
Those two go together, okay. Okay, you can have it
Got an
back.
extra one.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I want to say good evening or good afternoon to all of you, and we are happy to be here and to share with you some information about the community clinic and the nonprofits that we have organized to serve this community. And you receive every month a report about our dental and medical encounters. But I just want to summarize, since 2003, we have been serving this community to provide limited medical care for the low-income uninsured. So for 20 years, we have been providing this community and its citizens medical care. In 2021, we opened up a dental clinic. And also in 2023, we employed a dentist. and he comes from Brentwood, Tennessee, and he comes every Tuesday and Thursday from 8 to 5 to provide this county dental services. We're seeing a need for a child to have dental care, so we are providing that free of charge to families to bring their child in for pediatric dental care. We had our first dental health month last Tuesday, and we saw 15 children, and those parents do not pay anything. We see them on a weekly basis. We are also taking 10 care adults, and because we employed Dr. Foster from Brentwood, we had to agree with the state of Tennessee to take 10 care dental. Also, because the school system requires a physical for their students to come to their schools, well, the health department has stopped doing school physicals. Another barrier for a family to receive a physical for their child to be in school. So the clinic has agreed to provide school physicals for $10.
Wow.
Because if they go to a provider in town, one provider increased their fee from $75 to $150 per child. So we just want to serve this community and to have our community and our nonprofit to serve others. We have also organized the Other Door. We have a grant and a partnership with the Connecting Forward grant, and I have with me Mrs. Yolanda Marble. She is the case manager for this program. It's $1 million program. I have Benita Caldwell, who's with the Other Door program, and this funding is provided by the Healing Trust Foundation. We are just overwhelmed right now, is a good word, because we are seeing so many people coming in on a daily basis seeking medical care. And when they come to us, they have undiagnosed diabetes, undiagnosed hypertension. We had 2 patients last year to have their foot amputated because they were a severe diabetic. So we make referrals to Vanderbilt. When Vanderbilt has a patient in the ER, they are referred to us. Then we refer them back to Vanderbilt to receive medical care. So we have a great partnership with Vanderbilt Medical, and please tell them thank you for that. Looking at FY23 to show you how we work Tuesday and Thursday in our clinic. Last year we had 244 medical patients, 1,140 encounters, that's ages 18 through 90 plus, to come to us. On the dental side, we had 141 patients, 300 encounters. On the reverse side, FY24, since July the 1st of 2023 to January the 31st, 2024, we have had 754 encounters. I had to employ Shanna Gaither, my nurse practitioner, to come in from 8:30 to 4 to handle the volume. The dental side is where we are exploding. We had 566 encounters since July 1, and we look to surpass 1,000 for FY24, and we only had 300 last year. I want you to understand that we appreciate the support of foundations and grants and individuals and this community, because we could not survive without your support. And I feel as if this is our way of serving God because we are serving others. And we opened the Other Door through the Healing Trust Foundation to extend our services to have a one-stop shop for the ones who need services, especially families and children. So I want Yolanda to talk about her program, and then Benita will talk about her program, and we will also be available to answer any questions.
I'm Yolanda Marable. I'm with Connecting Forward This program is a pilot program funded under the Family and Children's Service. The Department of Human Services gave them a 3-year grant. So I'm here for Bedford County as the case manager here. You have to meet certain requirements to be a part of the program. So when you don't meet the requirements that I have, that's when I get with Ms. Benita. We don't do last minute things that pop up, like, say, for instance, somebody comes to us and says, my lights is getting ready to get cut off today. I can't do that as part of my program. But I go to Ms. Benita and she helps me. So we work really well together. We have spent over $40,000 so far from January until December, and we've served 93 children. And right now I have a total of 43 cases, and it varies. Some people don't want to. When you're a part of this program, you have to sign a consent form. Some people don't want to do that because that's part of the program. And then so I'll talk to the other door, and we'll make arrangements to help them.
I'm Benita Caldwell with the Center for Family Development, and the other door is a program of the Center for Family Development. We started the Other Door program in October of 2023, and to date, we have assisted over 100 clients, 126 children, and we have been able to assist with over $90,000.
Good.
It may come in the form of paying their rent. We've had several people during the month of December and January that have asked for assistance that were getting eviction notices to, and a lot of the folks had missed work due to sickness. A lot of single moms had missed work because their children were at home during the Christmas holidays and frankly couldn't afford a babysitter, so they had to miss work because of that. And then a lot of people missed work in January due to the weather. And, instead of being evicted, we were able to assist them with rent, utilities, some hotel stays. We've had some folks that were planning to leave town and not stay in Bedford County that just needed a night or two in a hotel to get out of the weather. And we have provided some transportation costs for folks that needed a way to get to work. Few car repairs, food, gas cards, folks that just were, running a little low on funds and wanted to get to work, needed to get to work to provide for their families, and just were running a little short. We're very thankful for that. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for any of the ladies? Anybody in the meeting? Okay, Commissioner Youngkin.
Yes. We do mammograms on a regular basis. What happened is that St. Thomas was doing the mammograms, and then their employees just quit. So we had no mammograms. So for about a year, our patients were not receiving mammograms. So they found a part-time employee, and they came 2 weeks ago, and then they were going to come back, and somebody broke into their fenced area and tried to break into their unit and damage the door. But we have rescheduled those dates, and we do free mammograms, we do free pap smears, we do free men's wellness exams, and we have grants to support those activities. And so we're just thankful that we have St. Thomas to come back and to provide that service for this community. And they did 32 the last time that they came in this month. Okay, I went to a potential supporter, and he asked me to send to him what my goal was for FY '24. So I just put out there $100,000 for our goal this year. And we are just trying to write grants to reach that goal because the medical care is expensive, but the dental is more expensive. And if someone comes to us and they don't have the money, we don't deny them a service. We serve them all. So when you look at that, when you have to pay for Henry Schein supplies, and they are very, very expensive, we don't turn anyone away.
Ms. Frieda, you're going to talk about the opioid grant program?
Yes, and we're going to start that process. We have already sent out applications to about 7 or 8 nonprofits, and we are really excited about that. And we are having our next meeting the 26th of this month, and then we're having an informational meeting on March the 11th. So we're talking to nonprofits and for profits, because this is going to be a comprehensive program to help this county to battle this problem. And it is a very, very serious problem that we have. I had a meeting this morning with the school system, and we're doing some things with them. So we're just reaching out. So tell anyone that you know that they can go and to the county website and send me an email, and I'll send you the application. And we are going to have a meeting to help you to work through the process, because it involves a budget, a work plan, an application. So it's going to be very involved, but we want to be very transparent with this and to let you know how the money is being spent.
Any other questions? I do, Ms. Leslie, I want you to make sure you tell all those volunteer physicians and dentists that we thank them from the bottom of our heart
Yeah.
for volunteer work
Absolutely.
to this community. Coming from the full committee, we want to personally thank them right now and go on record that thank those people. I often mention their names and how much, some hours, volunteer hours they spend here a month. It's unbelievable, particularly those dentists. We haven't always had that service, as you made note of.
Well, Meharry Medical College School of Dentistry comes twice a month, and they send their student doctors to us. So we are a teaching site. So they volunteer with us every month. Dr. Julia Gray and April Malone come from their staff. And that's a gift. You see these young people learning how to do these various procedures. And we're going to be in a clinical study sometime with Meharry. But the other people that we have one volunteer who has been with us for 20 years, and that's Judy Cochran, but everyone else is paid. And I guess my concern is that I have lived here all my life. And when I became the director about 8 years ago, I sent out a letter asking for volunteers from this community, and I had no response. Dr. Louie, our director, is from Brentwood, Tennessee. Dr. Danny Foster, our dentist, is from Brentwood, Tennessee. My nurse practitioner is from Tullahoma, Tennessee. I have one from Murfreesboro. So I'm just saying, I wish that this community would be more supportive, Mr. Farrell. But we are going to make it work.
Thank you. And again, thank you, volunteer physicians. Again, as I usually make note of, and I'll finish up, the doctors or physicians saw 59 patients in January, and then on the dental side, the dentist saw 44 patients. So they're continuing to do great work, and again, thank you, ladies, for the report update.
I want to say also that we were closed for 2 weeks, one for snow and
That's
ice,
right.
and one is closed because of the holiday. We weren't there.
Right, so that's the reason why those numbers were down some.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, that's for our own information, so The Egg Center, did y'all meet?
We
last
did
night?
not,
Okay.
Facility manager Helen Raby wasn't feeling very well, and I also had 2 or 3 board members that weren't feeling well. We weren't gonna be able to have a quorum. But, I've been talking to Commissioner Yaki and people on finance. We were talking about financing that old tractor, or not financing, we're talking about, what's the word, Linda, I'm looking for? Surplus. The sale's the end of February. I called Mr. Morton that runs the sale. He said it would behoove us to wait until the November one because the February sale's not as well attended and stuff brings less money. So I think we're better off to wait until November, where instead of getting 1,000, 2,500, we might get 5. So I have to ask Helen, once every 30 days, every couple of weeks, make sure and go out and start that tractor now. Because we don't want it sitting, because those of us that have tractors know what happens to a sitting tractor. So make sure we're running the tractor every 30 days and stuff's running on it. And it needs to be done at least every 30 days, maybe every 2 weeks when it's cold.
And don't wreck it.
Well, we're not gonna do that, but I wanna make sure it's running, because if it's not running, then all of a sudden you get into mechanical work, you can't surplus it, it won't go through the sale. So that's what I think our goal will be, to go in November, right around Thanksgiving, to the bigger equipment sale, and we'll surplus it then, which gives us plenty of time to go through finance and everything.
Yeah. Okay, any questions, for Mr. Anderson about the, Ag Center? Being none, we'll go on to the next is, joint homeless task force report, and commission, the chairperson is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Yes.
So this last month has been one of a lot of notoriety, specifically around the homeless situation. Starting a couple weeks ago, there was a lot of publicity, both in all the local media, which kind of caused a lot of the conversations that were kind of stemmed over the last month. Specifically on our last meeting, we spoke specifically on PIT count, which is point in time. That is the software in which all the nonprofits would be able to enter in information to be able to get a more accurate data as to how many individuals we have in the community that are not in homes, living on a couch, or living in a hotel. And so with that particular software, we did a Zoom meeting with the company, was able to show that to the group. And again, we all agreed that we're going to continue to move that forward to the nonprofit group now, to where they can have the same meeting with the company. We're actually going to try to have an on-site meeting that day, so all the nonprofits will also be able to ask questions to be able to see if this is the particular software that we want to be able to look forward to. Now, the great thing is the process and plan that we have is not going to cost the city or county any money. What we're wanting to do is do this as a per user fee. And so if we'll just use First Baptist because they've already agreed to do it. If First Baptist wants to be part of this, then they would pay for a seat at the table. If we come into a point where some of these nonprofits are not able to provide that, then we're going to go to some private funding through business owners and those type that are having some issues currently. And we have some that are going to be willing to step up and help us there. And so we spent most of our meeting talking specifically about that. The name of the program is called Plan Street. It's got a lot of different avenues, but just so as an example, somebody goes down to the soup kitchen and they need help with veteran services. Well, what Soup Kitchen can do is they can go in there, send that information, and it will actually, instead of them having to call veterans or things like that, they can go ahead and start the process of getting information and hit one button, and that would email that to the veterans organization to flag them to say, hey, there's a potential client that you have. Or if it's somebody that needs to go to the other door, same process. It's trying to streamline this, because what we have is we have a lot of great organizations in our community that are all working independently. They're trying to work together, but they're doing it old fashioned. They're picking up the telephone. They're trying to get a hold of all these different organizations, where this particular software will be able to kind of combine that all into one. They can hit one button and it will send it to all the groups that'll be participating. And again, we're going to wait before we finalize anything to make sure and meet with that nonprofit group to make sure they're on board with it, see if it's something that they're seeing that is beneficial, or we may go back to the drawing board and find something else. But we want to make sure that everybody involved is absolutely on board with it before we move forward. I will say a little bit about what's going on currently. We had 2 dips in the temperature where we had to kind of scramble to create or find some kind of warming shelter. Luckily enough, this last weekend, Fairhaven Baptist, they stepped up and were able to provide a warm shelter for all those individuals. There's so many people involved in this, but the two that stand out that I communicate with the most is Kay Bartley and Toby Sneed. They have stepped up tremendously in this community to kind of lead that effort to be able to make sure these individuals on these cold nights that drop below freezing, to be able to give them an option and somewhere to stay. I think we're going to talk later on in the property committee, but we're continuing to look for a permanent solution because right now we're definitely on the backs of these churches to be able to try to scramble to get somebody to open up, to provide volunteers to be able to stand by during those situations. Currently, we've been successful through this year, but we do want to look for some long-term solutions, and I think we're going to talk about that later. One of the other things that's going on, the city has recently put up some signs down at the bridge, or in the process of doing so. They're also discouraging the use of that area for the homeless. That has now sent those across the city. They're in different areas now instead of just that location. And so we're continuing to work with the city. I've met with Mayor Carroll to be able to talk through that, to see how we as a group can be able to do that along with their assistance and kind of guiding them with what we're hearing and what we're seeing. The other thing and the last thing is this will probably be our last meeting in the next month as the actual homeless task force. A year ago, it's been a year, we were tasked with being able to find out, research, and come up with recommendations. We've done that, and we're going to actually transition to a work group. And that will be where we will only come to you at that point whenever we have some needs or things like that. But what we have identified is we've identified a lot of the tasks that we need to work on. Now we need to put a group together to be able to start checking some of those boxes and getting some of those things done. And so I'll be working with that group. Now, again, I'm going to leave it up to the group. If they think we need to continue to meet, then we'll continue to do so. But a majority of that group will probably be condensed down into a small working group so we can continue to work on some of these things and continue to communicate. I would like to thank all the members on that board. Or on that task force, sorry. That was Commissioner Biff Fair, Commissioner Bill Anderson, Misty Peller, Chris Cook, Pastor Jeff Rasnick, Councilmember Gary Hale, David Parker, myself, Leticia Diaz, Police Officer Brian Stevens, Pastor Jimmy West, Yolanda Marble, Miss Amy Peterson, Stephanie Isaacs, Councilwoman Stephanie Isaacs, and then Lindsay Wiley. I also want to commend the other door. They are the front lines of being able to keep these people from becoming homeless, being able to work with them, to be able to find them places to stay. This is a problem that's not going away anytime soon, and we've got to continue to stay on top of it. And I just appreciate their work and their willingness to support our group. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anyone have any questions for? Yeah, and I know the school system with Miss Wiley. When Miss Wiley has been able to attend. Yeah, but she has been instrumental in our group to be able to give us the insights into how the school system can help. They have a lot more resources because of federal programs to be able to provide care directly to those students without having to, go through a big process and system. And so, but what we have been doing is we've just been referring them to the other door as well as to the school system to be able to work through that process. But they, I don't know the exact, specifics of that, but I try to put that in the hands of the professionals because they work with it on a day-to-day basis. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the last, was old business. We didn't, elect a chair or vice chair last meeting. Mr. Anderson was absent, so I thought it best to wait until we're all here in that commissioner battle. Has had to go somewhere, so
You got a class.
okay, he had to go to a class. So what's the wishes of the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we renominate for chairman, Vic Fair, and renominate for vice chairman, Commissioner Bill Anderson.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so it stays as it is. Is any other business to come before the committee? Any announcements? County Mayor Suzanne, you got anything to announce? Okay, being none, then we'll motion to
Move to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Okay, so moved.